What's up, everybody? Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles. I'm back again. Today we're going to do a follow-up on that Hypo Aztec IMG cross the Burke Central American T positive litter. Now it's been about a week and a half or so, 10 days. I'm gonna take the babies out. They've all shed, they look fantastic. I'm gonna take them out and I'm gonna put them in the bins that they're gonna be in while they get their first couple meals and they spend the first couple weeks of their life, couple months of their life, before I take pictures of them and post them up for sale on my website. If you are looking for snakes, check out my website, see what I have available right now. Still some fantastic 2021 babies up there. Bloods, I think there's one more leopard, some berms, some hypos, some different really just cool stuff. www.jasonsexoticreptiles.com. Let's dive into the video. I have my bin of babies that we pulled and we filled last week. The only thing I did differently is I put some bedding in here, which I will flip the camera angle around a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna take you through the whole process of me basically setting up my new bins with the bedding, the water bowl, and me sorting through the babies just to show you step by step what I do. What's fantastic about these babies that you can't see yet is they are pink. That red line that I put into this is I was gonna say fantastic again, but that's the only word that's coming to my mind. I mean, just amazing and incredible looking babies. So I'm teasing you a little bit, but give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna flip the camera, show you what I'm looking at, and then we're gonna go through the whole process of setting up the bins. I probably will not have these available for a couple months. This is actually my first IMG litter that I've produced, and I'm happy. I mean, it came out really nice. And I want to make sure that I see some of these babies develop a little bit more. I want to know exactly what they're going to look like as adults because I'm going to hold back quite a few from this litter. I will certainly have a couple available, so some will be for sale, but I do want to make sure that I hold back some really nice stuff for myself, as this was a breeding project I did for myself. So without further ado, let's flip the camera and I'll show you what I'm looking at. So we're back with the camera flipped, and now you guys can see what I was looking at and teasing you with on the video. You can't see everything because I just can't get the video to work like that, but I'll hold up a few of these. They're tiny little babies. They're Central Americans. I mean, check this little guy out. If I can get the camera to focus. It's not focused on me, so we got to get it to focus on the baby. Just beautiful pinks, and I don't know if you can see this pile over here. We're going to take a closer look as I'm setting up all the bins. But, I mean, just like, look at some of these hypos. These are just simple hypos. This is probably a hypo IMG. You can already see the IMG showing through on some of these. Just the black freckling, the black around the head and the eyes. It's just a really incredible litter. I'm very, very happy with this. This one right here, I don't think this one's IMG. It is still one of my favorites, so I'm going to hold it back for a little bit. I think it's just a Hypo Aztec red line. I have babies going all over the place like I usually do. So I am gonna flip this one more time and I'm gonna show you some of the baby setups. Then we'll probably do a time lapse of me setting them all up. You can see these are all their sheds. They all shed pretty much in the same day, within a day or two of each other. They haven't had any meals. My next step, once they're all set up in the bin like this, is we're going to let them settle in for a couple days, and I'll start offering them a frozen thawed mouse. I like to start with frozen thawed first before I jump to live because the majority of babies will take it. Every once in a while there'll be a picky, couple picky babies that want live, but I want to wait to the last minute possible before I actually try feeding live. So I'll probably give them a couple weeks. Babies absorb yolks at different rates. I mean, check out that baby. There we go. Check out this baby here. They absorb their yolks at different rates, so they're going to be hungry at different times. Just because they don't eat the first week doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to take frozen. So we're going to flip it around. I'm going to show you a different view. We're going to set up the bins, and then I'll slowly put them in. I'll show you the whole process of me sorting them. I will make a whole other video just on how to identify male versus female babies. I gotta be careful what words I use because YouTube will pick it up and they'll censor my stuff because if I put a couple words together, it sounds really bad when you transcribe it and YouTube does the editing. So when I talk about identifying male versus females and things like that, I gotta be careful what words I use. So again, let's flip it and we'll see what we do from there. We're back in front of my old setups. Now, I did just make a big purchase of some new Freedom Breeder racks. It hurt, I gotta be honest, every time I buy new equipment, it hurts because this stuff is expensive. With all that said, when I get the new racks in, I will be selling these old ones. So it's, kind of cuts the cost a little bit in half. These old racks are still good. they don't look very nice anymore. They got some rust on them, but they still function and work perfectly. I'm gonna keep a couple levels, I'll sell the rest. Same thing with these guys here. Just bought some new, larger cages. So it doesn't look the prettiest, but they still function great. Let's get into the video topic now though. So this is my baby bin. This is I think it's called an FB10. I think the size on their website is a 1075. I really like this size for babies because it still provides a nice length. I think they're 20 feet long, about 8 inches wide, and I think 4.5 or so inches tall. It's a nice size for babies, you know, from 0 to 6 months or so. Once they get a little bit older than that, they might need to bump up, or certain species of snakes like Burmese pythons might need to bump up a little bit sooner. But I get my bin, I just put 2 pieces of tape on the front. On the front, I will write the name of the snake, and this is where I track the feeding. I don't track every feeding, I don't track the shedding, I just kind of mentally take note of what's going on, but I do track every feeding for the first probably 4 or 5 feedings. I want to know if they're taking food, if they're taking it consistently. If I tried and they didn't take it, I'll still write it, but I'll cross it out, and I'll show you that on some of the babies that I actually just made. So this is a baby that I made. She was born, I have to look at the exact date. I actually wrote it on there. So she was born February 28th, 2022. The first time I tried feeding was 3/17. Then I tried 3/21 and she took it. 4/1 she took it. 4/6 she took it. So everything looked great. I was calling it a girl. It's a boy. So this is kind of the baby setup. You can see the boy, the little snake, he's just a hypo, 100% het blood, really pretty stuff. These guys will be on my website probably in the next week or so. This and the whole other litter, some super nice stuff in here. But what I wanted to show is basically the label. Is I tried feeding and she didn't eat, or he didn't eat. I tried feeding again and it took it. I tried feeding again, it took it. And I will, when they're first babies, I will mess around with the feeding interval. Sometimes I'll space it out 10 days, 14 days apart. Sometimes I'll feed them, you know, every 5 days, but little tiny prey. So I'm messing around with the snakes in this first phase. Once they get to a point where I know they're gonna feed and they're gonna be consistent, that's when I'll start taking pictures and I'll put them up on the website. As you can see, this guy is actually going into his second shed, and he was super tiny when he was born. I mean, he was as small as the one I just had in my hand. So they're already starting to get some good size on them. So again, second shed. After they shed, I'll probably take some pictures. I'll wait until they all shed. That way I'm not getting some pictures in shed and some pictures not. I'm in no rush, but these will be up in all price ranges, probably from $200 all the way up into $1,500. I'd have to look exactly what I have, but it was a hypo blood litter. Everything's 100% het blood, some really pretty stuff. Back to my bin setup. You'd think this is a promotional video for Freedom Breeder because I'm doing so much Freedom Breeder stuff. And although I love Freedom Breeder and they have somewhat sponsored this channel, I'm not getting any deals on these racks just like you guys aren't. So it's expensive stuff, but I do believe in the products, which is why I continue to buy them. Now I have my bin of Freedom Breeder Cocoa Blocks. You guys probably can't see it. It's just a bin like this. I use these black bins to expand the blocks, pour water right in them, and I just have a little bin like this. Some of your racks, this is actually a good comparison. Some of your PVC racks, this is the bin that you would put in it. So things like animal plastics, reptile basics, this is the rack size that you would have. So you can see the comparison, the size comparison between the two. They're about the same width. The Freedom Breeder is a little bit wider because I can put the whole tub in it, and this is the extra space you have in there. So it's much longer. And I like these because they last the babies a little bit longer. But I just take a bin like this and I'll, just approximate. There's my bedding. My new racks I have, they have cup holders. Because these ones don't, and I use these higher cups, I'll then take it and I'll push a little bit of bedding aside, and that's where my water bowl is gonna go. So I just use these water bowls. They're from the dollar store, something like that. It goes right in the middle. That's my baby setup. Because the rack setup like I have is so kind of nice and tight, it makes the snakes feel really comfortable. I personally don't use hides, but I will put some bedding in like this, and they'll burrow and they'll do their thing. They make a hide out of their own situation. So with all that said, I'm gonna continue to set these racks up, and let's do a time lapse. Our bins are all set up now. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna then get my bin of babies, and I am not gonna really pay attention to what's what at this point. I'll certainly hold the baby up and I'll show you guys. I might even just change my angle a little bit, and then I'm gonna put them in the bin. That way you can see exactly what I'm doing. Again, the whole how to tell male versus female boas, I'm gonna make that a whole separate video, and maybe I'll post it before this one. We'll see which one I make. I might just make it right after this. That way it can go up first, and then I can show you the second time. But we'll see. So now that that's all done, the next thing that I'm gonna do is grab my bin of babies, and when I'm doing this, I'm not really paying attention to what morph is what. Really, well, all I'm doing is as low stress as possible, taking them from the bin that they're all together in. Again, this is probably about 10 days later, they've all shed out, and putting them into their own individual cages. Because I'm gonna follow up with feeding, I don't wanna stress them out too much by trying to look at them and examine them. I might make a couple notes on the bins just so I can kind of generalize what's going on. I might try to identify male versus female, and I might just do my first guess. But either way, I don't wanna get too detailed in my notes, because as I go through after they've eaten a couple times, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna really scrutinize, pay attention to what's what, and try to figure out, is this IMG, is this hypo, is this red line? So right now it's just a quick glance and a guess. I'm gonna really mess you guys up now because I'm gonna move quickly, but I am gonna show you all the babies. And again, like I said, I'm just gonna look at them quickly. This one I'm assuming is a hypo IMG just based on the colors and the patterns. That's a male. And actually what you guys can't see me doing is I'm separating right now males versus females, and I might just do morphs. So this one again, another hypo IMG, that is also a male, doing pretty good right now. Hypo IMG, probably red line just based on the colors. So I have two bins right now. I have one behind me that's a male bin, one that's a female bin. That I believe is a female. No, that's a male. And I always double, triple, quadruple check before sending out. I believe that's an Aztec, hypo Aztec. I'm not sure if that's an IMG or not. I have to take a better look. Here's a really pretty hypo. I don't believe this one's IMG, but could be. Has some nice black freckling going on. That's also a male. Have a lot of males going on. Which from this perspective, because it's an incomplete dominant morph, that's actually a pretty good thing. This is definitely an Aztec hypo red line. Not sure if this is an IMG. I don't believe it's an IMG. And that is a female. These are all Het T positive, remember. I don't even know how many I have. I haven't counted them yet. So I just did, I think, 15 or 16 bins. This one's almost definitely an IMG, and I believe female, but look at the freckling on that. That's an awesome looking baby. That's a female. How's this one? That one's pretty cool too. That's definitely the red line. Also a female. Tell me in the comments how many males versus females I have, because I'm not counting, and you can't fast forward to the end. Just take a guess. Take a good guess. There's definitely a hypo IMG, really pretty. That one is a female. And what I'm doing, again, I will do a whole other video, but I'm just feeling the tail. I'm palpating the tail. There is potentially an IMG. I believe also a female. I guess I spoke too soon. Apparently all the males were the ones floating around on top. But that is also a female. Really pretty. You got this guy. This guy's definitely an IMG. This is a IMG Aztec for sure. Hypo. I'm assuming it's going to be a replica of the father. And a female. I definitely spoke too soon when I said I have a whole bunch of males. So there is a nice Hypo IMG Redline Aztec female. I think this is the last one, but sometimes they're buried in here. No, there's one more in there. So another really pretty IMG, I believe, just based on the saddles and the colors. Head stamp. That one is a male Hypo IMG. And I'm almost wondering if the father of these was Super Hypo. He was not sold to me as a Super Hypo, but based on the litter, I don't see any normals. So either I got really good odds or he's a Super Hypo, which is why he's so awesome. And here's another Hypo IMG Aztec. I'm assuming IMG just based on the amount of freckling that's going on here. And this one is a male. So we got pretty good odds. I'm going to look through here again. Let's give it one final look to make sure there's nothing left. And there is nothing left. No more babies. So I don't know how many I had. You guys tell me. We're back. Next thing I'm going to do, I have them all sorted into 2 bins. I have my males in here. I have my females in the other bin. And I am going to, at least what I personally like to do, is I like to identify kind of the snakes from females to males, most expensive to, or least expensive to most expensive, or least genes to most genes, and then I'll sort them all like that. So I see, you know, some nice hypos. I won't really sort right now, again, or pay too much attention because I want to make sure that I get the IMGs. And I'm not selling IMGs as normal hypos. That's certainly not something that is good for, probably great for you guys, but not good for me. So I am probably not going to, I'm going to skip this step because I'm not going to be able to talk and keep control of all these babies at the same time. And I don't think it's going to make a very good time lapse. Thank you all for watching this whole video. I hope you appreciated it. I hope you liked what you saw. I ended up having 12 babies. I didn't check the male versus female, but I figured I would close it out by showing you all the actual original father. You saw the mom, you saw the babies, and here's the dad. I know he's in a lot of my videos, but super pretty snake, and I figured I would just close it out, show him off. So he is a Hypo IMG Aztec Redline. Really, really pretty dude, and I'm so happy to see the babies that he made. So with all that, again, I appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, following, hit that bell notification, check out my website if you're looking for something for sale, and until next video, we'll catch you next video. Keep it moving.